too popular
Nope.
for this.
An error occurred on Facebook. This usually
Oh, it says we're live.
on the
not
other
on Facebook?
platforms.
People are just gonna have to
Hey, there we go.
email us.
Writing with terrible complaints. I'd sat the family down for our usual
after
week
dinner.
Had the fire set, had our brandies poured.
It's like the 1940s. Like we set the radio up and we were around the fire listening intently. And
Yeah, I think it's funny because people seem to love to remiss about that, but it's more the fact like life was so boring.
yeah, exactly.
There were so few things to do. That some old man reading a story from 40 years ago for the fifth time was a highlight of the week.
That was it. Yeah, you had to catch it every week too. Otherwise, you miss a part, and that'd be it.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, these kids, they don't have any attention span. It's like, yeah, do you know how much awesome stuff there is now? Kids are amazing. And it's all right there.
I don't
What do
need
you
to
like?
listen to you.
What do you like? Well, fascinating because there is an 8-part miniseries about that on Netflix right now.
Exactly. Yeah,
Catered to you. Don't stand a chance.
we'll cater to our audience.
Yeah, exactly. New dads on demand.
That's right. Yeah. New show, new channel.
Dads on demand. So if you need someone help tying a tie or getting bad jokes, just give us a ring.
Just bad jokes. I don't think we could do any of that stuff with just bad jokes.
The tie might be pretty poor.
Yeah.
On that note, we'll get things rolling and started. The adult beverages are poured. The kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old.
So it is a throwback. I was over the moon when you had mentioned what your kids had just gotten into.
Yeah.
And this isn't Fortnite. This isn't Minecraft. This isn't Bakugan or Makugan or any other arrangement of letters that results in you buying expensive toys.
No, that's right. Yeah.
You got your kids into
Quake.
Quake. Unbelievable. The original adrenaline fueled Mountain Dew sipping, pizza chomping, everybody on a local LAN.
Yes.
Multiplayer game. Your kids are actually playing it. How on earth did this come about? This is so cool.
This kind of came out of the blue, even for me. I was like, when is this ever going to happen? But it was in Nintendo eShop, and it was like $5. I'm like, you know what? I'm on a nostalgia trip here. Let me spend the $5 and see what this Quake like remaster or relaunch is all about. So it was just a cheap kind of like, sure, why not? And I get into the thing, and my kids come around like, again, it's kind of like the PlayStation startup sound. Like they hear the beep and they just start coming through the room, and they're like, "Hey, what's going on, Dad? What are you playing?" Like it's just like the sixth sense of what's happening in the video game world.
Sorry, hold on. So did you try to stealthily start it up yourself and not include your kids? And then
Well, yeah, because I wanted to.
and their spider sense just started firing. Like,
Yeah.
wait, Dad's enjoying something without us.
Exactly. They just like sluice through like the couch cushions. They're like, "Hey, what's going on?" Like,
Pop up from behind the TV.
yeah. Well, because I wasn't too sure. Like, it's Quake, right? So I'm like, let me just. Is my memory flawed? Like, I remember this being like overly brutal and like crazy stuff, and I was probably 11 or 12 when I was playing it. I can't remember, but I was like, "Oh, let me test it out first." But anyway, they come waltzing in, and I'm already halfway in, like just looking at options and starting up the campaign, and it's pretty tamed compared to like what they've been through. Like
It's pretty laughable.
this is like we're looking at a clip now of like what's supposed to be like the end devil boss, and it's pretty cartoony. I think anything in Fortnite is probably scarier than
Oh yeah.
like this thing,
Guaranteed.
right?
Like the tube, like the void, the endless void,
Yep.
like the hamster on a wheel, like piloting a fish machine. Like it's just like
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, so it's not anything that's gonna like freak him out or anything. So I decided like, hey, there's a co-op mode. Let's see how this baby runs. And this is on the Switch again, right? Like the Switch should be powerful enough to run this, but I'm like, three player, I don't know, it might put it to its limits. But no, man, it's super silky smooth. We had a blast playing co-op campaign on Quake. And I have never been, it was just like a single tear, like just kind of went down my cheek. Just like, it's happening. This is like a new milestone. This is Quake, and my kids are playing it with me.
I've been waiting for this moment for so long.
Yeah,
A real ass video game.
that's right, right? It's like one of those ones that are just, this was my childhood for a while until Quake 2 came out. But it was just one of those things where there's so much to do in this game that it's just a different mechanic than what they're used to. Anyway, my 9-year-old in the campaign, he's like, I'm going to try and get, like, because you have to run around and get keys and stuff. I'm sure everybody knows Quake. It's pretty basic. But he tries to, quote unquote, cheat the levels.
Okay.
Dude did his own rocket jump. I'm like, where
What?
have you done this? I posted a clip on our Twitter. They're practicing rocket jumps and did it and got the key, and the game didn't even register. Like, so I was so impressed. It was just one of those things like, where did you even see that? I hadn't even like shown them like what to do with it. But no, rocket jump, complete, like second try, no problem. I'm like, man, you're ready for the big time. Sign you up to the pro leagues. Let's do it.
It must just be like, even at our prime playing video games, I don't think we were ever as good as our kids will be.
No, never.
Like there's just a sixth sense. Like I know that my slightly off topic, my 4-year-old has gotten more into Minecraft, like pulled in by his brother.
Yeah.
But he was showing me some of the recipes he was pulling off. It's like, dude, you're 4. Like I have trouble remembering how to build a chest. How are you building portals? Like,
Yeah.
what is happening?
Yeah, it's insane. Like just that they again soak all that stuff up like a sponge, right? And just recall is insane. And just the dexterity, those little hands that are like born with a controller, like we've kind of talked about it on the show, right? It's just slide the controller into their hands as soon as possible and see what they can do.
I would say with yours in particular, so fans don't remember that Jeff's kid had gotten deep into Minecraft, like almost competitive Minecraft.
Yeah.
And sorry, was that the 9-year-old or was that the other one?
That was the 11-year-old.
Oh, sorry. So I don't know if has the 9-year-old also.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so they're both kind of into a more competitive Minecraft.
Yeah.
And that's where we were lamenting terms such as butterfly clicks and other things.
Yep.
So even at that young age, your kids already have this higher expectation of performance on games for their friends. So the thought that they can come back to what would be our old turf
Yeah.
and apply that kind of newfangled approach to gaming, like at a high level to it. That's actually, so here's the scenario you want. I don't know if you'll be able to achieve it. Is that, okay, kids, now we're stepping into dad's territory. Forget your Fortnites and forget your Minecrafts and forget your craft nights. Like this is Quake now, baby. And then they kill you consistently.
Yeah.
Like what I'm really wondering is that, did you do any head to head with them?
Oh yes, we did. We
Okay.
did. That was next up. That was right after the campaign.
Oh boy. Okay, so how did it go? Like this is this is a moment of glory or ultimate shame.
That's right.
Shame's not the right word.
No, but
sadness.
I will assure everybody in our audience that the gaming dad schooled his kids.
Score one, yes.
Schooled them like completely
Gaming dads.
obliterated. Yes, like no mercy. I know that you guys have the skills. This is gonna happen. Let's do deathmatch. There's no team deathmatch or anything. It was just a free for all. We put a couple bots in there.
Yeah.
Everyone's running around. I schooled them. It was just beyond awesome. Everyone was having a good time. Like they're not like crying in the corner like, "Why, Dad? Why did you do this?"
Please stop this.
But no, it was great. And then like again, I quit while I was up on top, okay? Because my oldest was getting close to me and in the scoreboards, and I'm like, well, you know what? Like I think that's enough gaming for today. We'll just leave it there. You know, this is a new game. Let's just let this kind of like sink in a little bit.
God, I hope you took some videos of it. I hope you wrote it down somewhere. Maybe took a photo because that's probably gonna be so short lived. Like he's probably gonna get so good at it so quickly.
Already is. I can already see it. So it's the problem.
Okay. Hey, you did it. Like just retire.
Yeah.
Don't touch it again.
No.
Delete. Like, oh, sorry, son. I'm one and done.
Yeah. That's it. But what I will say for anyone that's looking at it, it is on sale on the Switch, right? But you need 2 Joy-Cons to count as one controller, which was a bummer.
Yeah.
So I bought it a second time. on the PlayStation for like $10. So it's like double the
okay.
price, but you can use any of the controllers. And we all had a great time on the team deathmatch there. So we played it, went out on top. Might pick it up again when, they're a little bit tired and I won't see the scoreboard blow out and me in last place. But yeah, it was a great time. I'm like on top of over the moon. This is a great
That's
milestone.
So exciting. Yeah, the question would be, I think you'll have to swallow your pride because the joy of playing it, I think, will be greater than the shame of losing to your kid eventually.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just to come to accept it, there's no shame in it. Just we're all dads here. Our kids are going to be better than us. We want them to be better than us.
I think so, right? Push them forward, right? That's the whole mantra of things. Just
So you're buying it on multiple systems to accommodate the play. There must be some gaming dad term for it. Because I'd pulled that as well. Like there was I repurchased Zombies versus Plants just to get it onto the next system.
yeah.
Because it was kind of chugging along on the Switch and I wanted them on the Xbox for it. You're 20 purchases of Stardew Valley. Like it just like it feels like there's very much a gaming household and specifically gaming dad trend towards buying multiple versions to support the gaming habit within the house, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to have because when they kind of saw the original on the Switch and we were having fun, I wanted to immediately let's grab onto that and run with it, right? Another $10 is not going to break me. Let's do this and have some fun, and we'll come back to it. And they still ask for it, so it's great. It's like something just to continue because it'll be a flash in the pan for who knows kind of how long this will last. So maybe next is Unreal Tournament. I mean, we can go up from here, right?
I'm just waiting for you to study you up until midnight, studying all your old tactics and the routes you're supposed to take.
Yeah. I have to shake off the dust in my memory of how this game worked and all the map layouts and all the. God, I used to make levels for this game, so
yeah?
I even want to
cool.
get into looking at that stuff, like level editors, and see if my kids want to do it.
That would be really cool for your kids because your kids are really creative with that, especially coming from the Minecraft world of their creations. To apply that to this, as far as quaking,
Right?
Oh man,
Right? With all the textures stuff that you can do to it as well, like it's a little bit more difficult than Minecraft, but something that they could experiment with and get frustrated with, and figure out how to do a proper level. So we'll see. I'll update the show.
yeah. Keep us posted if this becomes a new Fortnite.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
All the neighborhood kids will be all over it.
Except for the soundtrack is a little bit different than the Fortnite soundtrack. It's
And you can just mute it. Just put
Yeah.
some
exactly.
turn off the sound, put on some
Yeah.
kid bop in the background. You'll be safe.
Spotify Paw Patrol or something. I don't know. We'll
Oh
see.
God, please don't. Find something safe. So, somewhat related in our household, it wasn't as old school as Quake, but similarly, there was a sale.
Okay. Yep.
My kids actually, unfortunately, so they had on the Switch, they had entirely beaten Lego Avengers 2. And
wow.
And got every single character. He was driving at it, right? So he had everything on the map, so he could see every single place where there was a secret or there was a character. He got every single character in the game. The file save corrupted.
Oh no.
Lost. Now,
No.
I can't say corrupted. I think they might have just deleted it.
Okay. All right. Well,
It's I didn't try to open it, for instance, but it's gone.
it's all right.
The important part of it. So they were fairly bummed, but at the same time, I was kind of telling them, I was like, you just get to keep playing. You love playing this game. Go for it. And they got over it quickly. But then Lego Avengers, the original, just number one, showed up on Xbox for $4.
Okay.
Same type of thing. It's okay, you guys love this one. And I prefer to be on the Xbox anyways, because the Switch had a real hard time with that game.
Yeah.
It was way too big for its britches. So I was like, all right, you can play on the better system. It'll look better. And my thinking was, okay, this will be the original. So it's going to be a little bit simpler, a little bit flatter, a little less grandiose.
Yeah.
And I nailed that on the head. The first version of it is so much better condensed, and better is the right word.
Okay.
Because it's kind of like they took the same, from the first game, they took the same amount of interesting, well-designed content and then just tripled the space in which it lived upon.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like a classic Ubisoft where it's just, hey, you know what they loved about Assassin's Creed? Assassinating a lot of people in dense city.
Yeah.
Well, let's just make it 50 times the size with 100 times the side quests.
Let's make a
Hooray.
desert where you can travel through the desert.
Like, well, sir, how big do you want it? I want them to walk in game for 4 hours. That's the type of size I'm talking about. So I've honestly started to find that. So even with the older Batman games, especially the ones that kind of showed up on the 360 and maybe encroached into like the Xbox One or PS4,
Yeah.
but that type of PS3, Xbox 360 era of Lego games, the games feel so much tighter. And I'm trying my best not to have like the classic dad, rosy memories about it, where it's, everything's better back in our day. It all went downhill after Chrono Cross.
After Quake, it went downhill. Yeah. Yeah.
But I very legitimately think that, especially with this franchise, Lego, after it hit that kind of like the 360 era, it just really started to go downhill. I don't know if you've like had any experience with it or noticed something similar with other series.
Yeah, Lego especially because my kids were that was a phase. They're out of that phase, but it kind of speaks to what you touched on. That generation, maybe there was a memory bottleneck or something, and they're like, no, we have to kind of squish everything into this one space, unless you want to like endure all these load times. And like that was like, no, let's like just try and keep it tight. Where I think when they went up the generation, there was just a lot more that you could do. Didn't know necessarily how to fill it, right? So my kids dropped out of those games pretty quickly. At least the open world kind of games. It was just too much to take in. There's too much to do, and I think you and I have had issues with like just there's too much on screen at once, and you're not sure like where to go or what to do. So it's just one of those things where a tighter experience could be great, and then if you want your open world or your huge game, then there's space for that. But at least with your kids and this experience, it's good to have like a something a little bit more condensed.
Yeah. And I just found too, like, it started to get silly. Not in the good way, like, hooray, this is fun and silliness, but it's more fun and good, silly fun. It was instead just, you're not even trying hard to make this relevant. So what I would mean is like, so there's a Lego puzzle and I need to build a bridge. So you would go over to the dinosaur bones that were sitting there, smash it up, and then the dinosaur bones would become the bridge.
Right.
And you're like, oh, okay, great. Like, I'm not being facetious. Like in the later games, it was like, okay, well, I need to turn off that fire over there.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna smash this brick tower, which turns into a chicken, which then goes and lays an egg in this frying pan that I have to build, which then turns it into a fire hydrant, which then like turns it off. Like there's no connective tissue. Like it's supposed to be ludicrous, of course it is, but like it's to the point of being insulting, where it's just slapdash. There's no connective fiber to any of the themes whatsoever. And so in Avengers 2, I found it all the time with their puzzles where it's just like, this is not clever or good. like, like with the original ones, especially like some of the Batman games, like it was just what you would place where, like it was all themed. Like it kept a consistent theme. And even from a storytelling for my kids, as far as, this is kind of narrative. Like this is like, we're in this world and we're bad and we're doing this thing against a penguin. So it's fish related now. Like
Right.
I like that there was some sort of narrative consistency. And I don't know, something about the slapdash nonsense just started to bother me.
Well, and I think we've spoken on the show before. Just Lego works in its own logic, like its own space, right? So you have to kind of like figure out what that, what that terminology is, and if it's something that's a little bit more, on theme, it hits different, right? Than something that was just like you were saying, smash all these blocks. You build something that you don't know what it is yet until you build it, and then you have to go do a different thing to match with whatever this weird thing is, right? It's not something that it's not something you can look at and be like, yeah, I need to do A, B, C. You're like, no, I just need to smash these blocks and figure out what that does and have it do its thing. I don't know.
So was that right? Did I do things right? Is everything okay?
I always found them so confusing, so I'm surprised kids get around it, but they seem to have, less of a problem.
Call it the SpongeBobbing of gaming logic. Oh, now the SpongeBob tends to be a popular birthday theme, and the fact that you are speaking with me tonight means that you survived
Oh, yeah.
your children's birthday party. So a couple of weeks ago, Jeff took the brave approach of holding a birthday party for his son. How did you survive that? How did it work?
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. I'm just saying.
The first tip is don't.
Yeah, exactly. Do not. Yeah, it's kind of hard coming out of again, it's been a pandemic, still is a pandemic for a couple of years. This is like one time where we said, hey, we're going to give our 8 turning 9-year-old a birthday. They've missed out since they were 6. So why don't we invite some friends over to the house? The cleaning, the planning, the last minute phone calls saying they tested positive.
Oh no.
Just having kids in the house is totally different than, because you yourself have isolated yourself from other people mostly, right? And to have all these other kids run around and just tear up and just dealing with other people's kids. I'm not saying that I don't like other people's kids. It's just, it's different and it's a lot of energy, and it drained myself and my wife, and it was a lot. But part of last episode, or at least what we talked about, is like, what game can we get them to play? Because they're going to watch a movie, and then maybe there's time for games with pizza and cake.
Of course.
So we did Boomerang Fu. Thought it would be kind of like a cool, like, hey, these fruity characters, you throw a boomerang, and everyone can have fun. Nope. It is, everybody was super competitive. Super competitive, like half crying, like, why is he hitting me? Why is she doing this? Like, and it was just like, no, okay, let's not play this game.
Wow.
But I had to have, like, word of warning, if you stop a game, you need to have a backup, which I did not have immediately, because once they saw the menu, they're like, I want to play Animal Crossing. And I'm like, well, we can't, because it's like a 1-player game. Like, who's going to watch somebody go around an island at like a molasses pace, right?
It's a party, kid. You want to watch them harvest walnuts? Like what?
Exactly. Like really slowly too. It's not even like a quick game. It's like every dialogue box, it takes forever. Like, no, we can't do that. So we had to find something. We ended up on, I think, Ultimate Chicken Horse just for a little bit. And just because it was a quick game to get into that was multiplayer. But even that was like, you're not building level correctly, you're not letting me win. And then everybody wanted, my 9-year-old to win because he's the birthday kid. So like, let's celebrate him. But nope, he was ruthless to everyone and wouldn't tell them how to play. I'm like, okay, I know this is just like ruthless. Like, it's, he wanted to see, win against everybody and just kind of show them, that, they could win at this stuff. So anyway, it was not a good experience, Trevor. I wouldn't recommend it. Don't go into your house.
Or very least, like, so for the sake of the kid, you as the dads, if you could avoid it, great.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
But because we are good dads, if the kid really wants it, we're going to do it. And I think one of the interesting takeaways there is, man, pre-planning, like the entire suite of games. Like, here's the lineup of games we have available for you to, like, and I could even picture like going full, just nuts, and like cleaning out the Switch, like deleting games you don't want.
That's a good idea. Yes.
It's like, here are the 4 that this party's able to play. And help me if you start to yell.
Exactly. Hide the cartridges. Like, if you bought physical games, hide those and just have the menu screen. That's it. Joy-Cons all charged up, ready to go. They have the little shoulder buttons on them already, because kids are trying to find those because they weren't comfortable without them. So just have all that lined up and just go for it. Like, again, I was like, maybe we should have played Mario Party. No, that would have been a mistake too. Anything that's like semi-competitive, it was just not hitting right at all.
Man,
and then his brother came down. So then you got an 11-year-old amongst all these 8, 9-year-olds. And trying to like ring everybody in, right? At least that was, somewhat helpful, but it's still like, then he wanted to play. I'm like, you can't play when we have guests.
Right now, son,
like,
please.
Let's rotate out. Anyway, it was just a lot, and I would, that's why I look at, like, maybe we should have just spent the money and gone to laser place or trampoline place or something. Just get it done. It's off-site.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry.
I think that's the way to do it. We'll see how it goes with my kids. So my son's birthday is coming up at the end of May, so kind of like a month and a half from now. We
start deleting those games.
I think we are leaning towards the trampoline park.
Okay,
just to like have it contained, have them stomp around. We'll kind of see where it gets. We're starting at the pieces, and it's certainly good to learn from your missteps.
At least it did something, that I'm just relaying that knowledge to you, where you can be like, all right, change course, please.
Yeah. Charge your controllers, delete the unwanted games, update the wanted games.
Yes.
And just be ready. And bolt down the furniture and just be ready for pandemonium.
I did move my PlayStation 5 too because I'm like,
Oh,
I don't
thank
want
God.
I don't want
Oh,
them
Jeff,
touching
thank
it.
God.
I don't like I can't get a replacement. Like I'm just gonna move it. So I moved that,
Yes.
and they're like, "Hey, you have a Switch?" I'm like, "Mm-hmm, that's it. That's all
That's
we
it. That's
have.
the only thing I have. This Switch.
That's it."
This SNES Mini. That's my
That
only
was in the
console.
drawer. I could have like got that out, and you can play some Street Fighter or something, and that will be
Super Mario World. Super
exactly.
chill.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things you could have done if it was a little bit warmer was kick him out of the house.
Oh yes.
And I'll say that I'm in a weird spot because I think this is hitting me particularly hard this year. Because in previous years, we had the fortune of going down to Colombia, where my wife is from, for the winters. So we were doing 6 months and 6 months. This represents the second winter in a row, maybe third that we've been here. Yeah, because of the pandemic. So this is the third winter in a row we've been here. I have never been more ready for some semblance of warm weather in my life. And it's not my desire to feel sun or something. It is my desire to kick my sons out of the house.
Go
Because
fly.
even it has already been amazing. So we're in Canada here. We're in Canada spring, which means plus 18 the one day, like super sunny, super hot. I
Right.
was trying to do the Fahrenheit conversion. I couldn't off the top of my head.
Don't know it. No.
I think it's like double or triple. But talk t-shirt weather one day, and the next day back to blizzards, freezing coats. Like it's awful.
Yep.
But on those sunny days, there's literally been moments where it's just like, turn off the TV, get the heck outside, just punt them. It's like I don't know what to do. It's like not my problem. It's like you're the squirrel's problems now. Run and
Exactly.
be free. And it's been fantastic because then they find stuff to do in the dirt. There's a couple neighborhood kids and they stomp around. We set up the trampoline, just like ding 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 ding. There's tons of stuff to do and it's good for them. They're outside, and it's just not there when it's snowing. You can, it's not the same, right?
Yeah, it's not the same, and it's quite like this circus of getting them out the door when it's snowing. Like, 'cause then they're putting their snow pants on, but then like 2 minutes out the door, they'll come back and be like, "Didn't go to the washroom, so I gotta take all this stuff," or I need my mitts, not those mitts, I need these mitts," and like, it's just a chore to get them out. Warm weather, the days are longer. Kick them out. You hear the garage. We can hear the garage open. I'm like, fine, they're getting their scooters. Awesome, as long as they know the routine and the kids aren't hanging out in there. So be it. Go. We have one friend down the street that comes by at like 7:30 on the dot, to take my kids out, and they run around and just play tag or whatever. It's like simple, and then in it like shortly after 8. It's like when we were growing up, it was just like I don't remember being in the house. I think we were just like sent out into the forest, and like if someone were to grab you, like make sure you run away. I don't know. And then when the
Give a kick.
just scream loudly or something, bite their ear. And then the street lights would come on, and that's when you were coming
you
like
go home.
that's inside, and you'd quickly eat supper, and then it would be like shower and bed. That would be it. This
God,
is
I
like
get-
a little bit more pre-planned.
think-
Just like go.
I think we can get back to that though. Like it's one of the this is super tangent. I think I adore this story. So permit me a minute. I helped my wife.
My day, is that what
Yeah.
this is gonna be? Back okay.
Kind of. So I wrote an essay and it was about let your kids be bored. So it was a general, it was a call to action that look, you do not have to keep your kid entirely entertained all the time. You do not have to give them 1,000 educational tasks and games and other nonsense like that. Oh, I'm going to build them slime putty. That's interesting. That's an hour worth of work for 20 minutes worth of play and 4 hours worth of cleanup. That's not a good use of parents' time. Well, that's not the right way to put it, but it's just the effort in, effort out. It's like I don't have anything to do. Great, figure it out. I think our parents and anybody listening to this show, your parents would let you be bored. I'm bored. Well, figure it out. Go do something. All right, and I think there's a new impetus with parents where it's like, no, you have to you have to help them master their intelligence, and you need to coddle their minds, and you need to bring them up and spark their creativity. There's a certain pressure for parents now to constantly be engaging their kids, seemingly to try to give them the best chance of life and expand themselves, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of the thesis of this essay where I'm writing all about it. Let your kids be bored. You don't have to provide for them all the entire time. Kick them outside. Let boredom spark their creativity and a bit of roughhousing. Now, the reason I wrote this is because my wife is bad at writing essays, and for her French class, she needed to write a French essay.
Oh no. Okay.
So the creative, it's like, I'm not good at writing essays. I can't think creatively. Just write me an essay and I'll convert it into French.
Right.
The next day, teacher's like, hey, I got this one essay and it's really well done. Like, Carolina, my wife's Carolina, could you come up and explain to the class
Oh no.
the thesis behind this essay? I found it so profound. One of the parents in the class said, I found this so useful. It was really good. And in fact, I employed it the next day and I told my kid, no, you be bored. So out of this like thesis around hey, can you write me a quick essay? Because I'm not good at the creative part. Let me just do the translation. I kind of screwed her because I did such a good job.
You didn't let her be bored and just do.
My own fault. But for me, like I find my what sparked that is what you said with our parents, where it'd be you left the house at like 7 and 8 in the morning, you came back for supper, and then you went to bed. And it was just parents that said, like, get out, explore, roughhouse, don't cause trouble, or not trouble that I need to hear about. I'll feed you and then I'll put you to bed. And that mode gets enabled again once it gets warm.
Right.
So here you and I are, and I think every parent north of a certain degree of latitude that's just saying, please get warm so I can kick my kids out of the house.
Yeah. Yeah. And I totally agree with just like go out and be bored for a few hours and, let be with your friends, figure out some crazy game and do it. The only thing that when I grew up and we were out there for all days is because like my parents weren't engaged with what I did, right? So I think we like have this sense like, oh no, like I want to be there with my kid, right? But there is time for like let them breathe a little bit, let yourself breathe. You go do your own thing and recharge because a lot of parents don't recharge their batteries, and I find that like it every day it just stacks against you, and then you get frustrated, and then there's like a blowout or something like it all builds to something, right? So. Absolutely. Warm weather. It's coming. It's just like you said, in Canada up here, it's just like a roller coaster. So like it was 19 yesterday and all of a sudden it's snowing today. So I'm like, what are we doing here? Like just give me a peace of mind and like let's have consistency. So that's good to look forward to. I'm with you.
Right. All right. And on that positive note, on that sunny disposition,
Yes.
we will let's wrap it up there for the week. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you like the show, if you have your own horror stories of getting punted out of the house at an early age, if you have any tips for Jeff on how to reconquer Quake with his kids, if you'd have a different take on Lego, like kind of going downhill and getting a bit too big for its bricks, we'd love to hear from you. So you can reach out to us at our website, newdadgaming.com, or on Twitter, where we love to engage. That's at newdadgaming. That being said, one of the greatest parts that we've had of this year has been all the engagement with fellow gaming dads, hearing the stories, hearing their takes on things, sharing links. It's been a riot, so we absolutely would love to hear from you. We're trying to grow the show as much as we can. What would really, really helps us is if you can subscribe to the show, but also leave a comment. That really boosts the signal to other gaming dads and helps us get out there so we can all reminisce and complain about terrible Lego games and kids needing constant coddling.
That's right.
That being said, everybody, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. My name is Trevor, and I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I'll be on Quake with my 11-year-old and 9-year-old.
Gotta get those clicks up, buddy.
That's right. I better be practicing. But remember, just because you became a dad,
Does not mean it's game over.
see you later.
See you next week.